Hey, good morning, almost afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a great morning. So, yesterday I was looking at my YouTube channel and I saw that, believe it or not, since Corona lockdown started, which was about, I think, March 15th, I've done 75 Dvar Torahs, Facebook Lives, Torah thoughts every day. And it's been pretty amazing to be able to connect with people and to hear responses from people and thoughts and appreciation. I've connected with people I haven't heard from or seen in a long time, and it's been amazing. But now, sort of, we're getting back to regular life, and to a certain extent, I think we won't be back to regular life until there's a vaccine. But people are going back to work. We've started a daily minyan. Every single day we pray here. We have Shabbos minyan. We're going to have Friday night minyans. We have a bar mitzvah coming up next week, small and safe, social distancing, and then we have another one the week after. But I was thinking, should I continue the daily talks? From one side, it's been amazing, and it's great to stay connected with people and to be able to teach Torah. From the other side, it takes a lot of work every day to prepare something and to think about what you're going to say and to be able to relate it properly. And also sometimes when you do too much of something, people don't appreciate it. So I figured I'll ask you guys, the ones that do listen, what do you think? Should we start doing it once every second day? Should we continue doing a Dvar Torah every single day and make this the new tradition, something we gain out of COVID? Should I do it twice a week, once a week, etc., etc.? So I'll wait to hear from your comments, and then we'll know who listens, who doesn't, and what their opinion is. Maybe I won't get any comments, and I'll know that I might as well just stop it. So now on to a Torah thought from this Torah portion. So the Jews camped out by Sinai for an entire year, receiving the Torah from God, and all the things that happened, and now they're ready to travel, getting ready to go to the promised land. This was before they were punished. They thought they were going right in. And there's a special guest with them for the entire year. Who's the special guest? Jethro. Jethro is Moses' father-in-law. The Torah tells us he was a Midianite. He was a Midianite priest. And after God split the sea and all the miracles that happened, he came traveling to the desert to be with the Jewish people. He comes and he says, I saw and I heard all the miracles, he tells us in Exodus. It's fascinating. You guys have such a great God. He says, now I know that your God is greater than all gods. The rabbis tell us he was a Midianite priest who studied every idolatry, every deity. And he came to the realization that God is the God of all and the greatest of all. But now, as the Jews are getting ready to embark onto the land of Israel, Moses turns to his father-in-law and he pleads with him. He says, listen, Jethro, come with us to the promised land that God promised he will give us. We will be good to you. We will give you whatever we get. And then Moses says something very interesting. He turns to Jethro and he says, if you come with us, you will be our eyes. What does that mean, you will be our eyes? What kind of terminology is this? What's going on? But we find something fascinatingly interesting. That the moment Jethro says to Moses, listen, I got to go back to my land. You continue on your way. I appreciate it. It was amazing being with you guys, but I got to go back to Midian. And they depart ways. Jethro leaves, although Moses pleads with him, and the Jews continue. The moment Jethro leaves, the Jews start a major complaint against God. They say, God, what's this manna every day, the same food, the same taste? We want to have something that's different. And the Jews start complaining, and Moses gets upset, and he turns to God, and God has a whole conversation with him, etc., which we spoke about on another day. But the point is that if you look through the entire Exodus, through Numbers, you'll see that the entire time that Jethro is with the Jewish people, they never complain once. But all the complaints bookend him from before and after. The Jews don't stop complaining in the desert. We want fish, we want duck, we want water, we remember this. Why is it so cramped? Why? The Jews don't stop complaining. But all their complaints are before Jethro comes or after Jethro leaves. No complaints while Jethro was with them. What's going on here? We know that Jews like kvetching, right? What's the story with the waiter in the Jewish restaurant? The waiter comes to the Jewish table and says, instead of saying, is everything all right? The waiter says, is anything all right? Jews like kvetching. But why is the significance that the Jews are only complaining when Jethro is not there? And what's Moses telling Jethro? That you will be our eyes. What does it mean to be our eyes? I saw a beautiful commentary, which I think is so important to us in America, especially living in Chestnut Hill and Brookline and Newton. And I thought it would be something powerful to share with all of you. You see, Jethro was an outsider. He wasn't born a Jew. He didn't grow up on schmaltzering and Manischewitz and matzo ball soup. His father wasn't a board member in CJP, and his mother wasn't from the founders of Hadassah. His grandfather didn't found the first JCC in Ohio, etc., etc. He was an outsider. He didn't grow up in the Jewish schmaltzgribble. He didn't grow up around all the miracles that were happening to the Jewish people. He didn't grow up celebrating all the miracles that happened. And that's why when Jethro comes, the pagan priest who knew every single idol worshiping, he studied everything. He comes to the Jewish people, he says, look what's going on here. He says, look at the miracles God's doing for you. It's amazing. Now I know God is greater than everyone. You see, sometimes when you grow up in the gribble, you grow up in the bubble, you don't get to appreciate what's going on around you. You don't recognize the miracles happening in your day, in your life on a daily basis. And you need someone like Jethro to come and be your eyes. What does it mean to be your eyes? To give you appreciation, to remind you of all the gifts you have, to let you know about the miracles that are constantly happening around you. Jethro was a Midianite. Jethro wasn't a Jew. Jethro grew up worshiping idols. He saw the world. He toured it all. He knew what goes on there. And suddenly Jethro sees what God does for the Jewish people. He sees the splitting of the sea. He sees Matan Torah. He sees the miracles. And he comes to the Jewish people and he says, listen, guys, this is great. This is miraculous. This is unprecedented. And that's why Moses pleads with him. Please stay with us. You'll be our eyes. You'll be our perspective. You'll be the one that will remind us what's going on around us. You will be the one that will tell us how lucky we are, how blessed we are, how miraculous our journey is. I heard this story from a guy named Rabbi Yoli Gold. He's a rabbi in California. And he says the story how he became a rabbi in this elderly congregation in LA. And his first day on the job, minyan is 6:15 a.m. and he arrives 6:16, 1 minute late. Coming from a chassid, 1 minute late is a half an hour early, right? But he comes in the shul and he sees the shul's full of elderly people. They're all wrapped in tefillin. He gets up, he leads the service, he gives a Dvar Torah, and then he's about to finish. And some guy comes over to him and introduces himself to him. He says, my name is Amram Deutsch. Welcome to our community. It was a pleasure. He says, you know, Rabbi, I saw you came a minute late. He said, I hate seeing people come late to services. Please make sure to come on time. The rabbi was flabbergasted. A minute late, but he was so embarrassed. He made up, listen, it's my new job. I'm not going to do this again. The next day, he said, I'm going to be at 5:45. And he shows up 5:45. And little did he know that Amram Deutsch opens the shul at 5 a.m. to study. And by 5:45 even, he was wrapped in tefillin and his talis, and he had already finished studying. Well, guess what? This goes on for a year. After a year, Amram introduces himself to him. They end up talking. He says, let me tell you my story. Let me explain to you what's going on. He says, I'm a survivor. He shows him his number. He says, I was in Auschwitz, and it was so rough that for 6 months I shared a plank to sleep with two fellows. And we were so shivering in our bones that we would take turns who should sleep in the middle so we should have some warmth to be able to protect us. And then one day, one of the guys comes to me in the morning and he tells me, I want to tell you a secret. He says, down below the barracks, there's a pier of tefillin. I'm going to go out for 2 minutes. I'm going to make believe I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to go wrap the tefillin and I'm going to say the Shema. And then when I come back, you'll do it. And this went on for 6 months. For 6 months, every single morning, I snuck out below the barracks and I wrapped the tefillin. I said the Shema, and then I came back. And then we were transferred to Bergen-Belsen, and we couldn't take the tefillin with us. But when I came out of the Holocaust, I appreciated what I had in Auschwitz. It was my only light, my only hope was the tefillin wrapping and saying Shema. That I said I'm never going to be late to shul again. And that's why it's so hard for me to see people who come late. Sometimes you need eyes to give you perspective of the blessings, of the things you have in your life. And that's what Moses tells Jethro. Listen, stay with us, please. You are our eyes. The whole time you were here, no one complained. Because you reminded them the perspective that we're in the desert, in a parched desert, that we have all the blessings that Hashem has given us. So we don't want you to leave. And that's exactly what happened. The moment Jethro leaves, the eyes, the perspective leave, the Jews are complaining again. They don't stop complaining. You know, being a rabbi, and coming from an observant community, it was always so inspiring for me to see people who grew up unobservant, not connected to their Judaism, and became so inspired to become closer. So many people who started wrapping tefillin every day. So many people who started keeping Shabbos or lighting Shabbos candles or trying to keep kosher or studying every week. It was so inspiring coming from where I came. I needed eyes, perspective to remind me of what it means to travel, to have a journey spiritually, to grow, to become a better person. Today in the morning we had a minyan. One of the kids who came, not a kid anymore, he's in NYU. And I see him come every morning, and I see his thirst, his passion to wrap tefillin, to study. He WhatsApps me, he messages me questions about Shabbos, about kosher, about the laws. His dad sends me videos of him praying on a Friday before Shabbat. And I think to myself, this guy grew up not with what I had. And look at his thirst, look at his passion. He's my eyes. He's my perspective, and so is the entire community. So I want to bless you all. We live in Chestnut Hill, probably the top 1% zip codes in America. We're blessed that even during COVID, most people have their jobs, and there's so much outdoor space, and there's so much blessings. We grow up in a community where there's so much Judaism, there's kosher, there's restaurants. Let's remember, let's have eyes. Let's keep perspective of all that we have in our life. And remember to comment and tell me about my question at the beginning so I should know what to decide. That's my poll. Have a great day.